Blanket trigger warning. This was going to be a fun video, a fun Dungeons and Divinity video, poking fun at Kenthoven. But now I'm going to be going off on a rant on against a different pastor. When the Triangle Shirtwaist factory caught fire, many seamstresses were burned to death. Others fell off the broken fire escape and to grievous bodily harm or were impaled on the fence below. We have that to thank for our current fire codes. The Butte mining disaster. Copper mine set on fire. The bosses kept the mine closed to keep the miners from taking, kept the escape hatch closed to keep the miners from taking keep the miners from taking breaks. The miners tried clawing their way through the door and wore their fingers down to the knuckle, those who weren't burned alive or suffocated. We have the labor movement that sparked to thank for our current 40-hour work week and OSHA. Sometimes, or more often than not, our rights, the road towards our rights are paved in the blood of tragedy. On Monday, there was another school shooting. This time it was a Christian school in Nashville. Now, the internet, set down, or at least the internet in America, set down for the routine discourse of this fucking merry-go-round. And the fact that the back and forth between we can't let this happen again, and you'll take my guns from my cold dead hands, can be any way accurately discussed or accurately categorized as routine discourse is fucking sickening. But anyways, the American internet sets down for the routine discourse of, we can't let this happen again, we need to do something about our fucking gun laws, and you'll take my guns from my cold dead hands. Then it turns out that the perpetrator happened to be trans. And suddenly, the religious right responded to this revelation with multiple variations of, so, how's about our final solution to the transgender question? Now, from what I've seen, the discourse has evolved from the perpetual merry-go-round of we need to stop all these fucking mass shootings and cold dead hands to you know, final solution, genocide pushing, and hey, mass killings are bad. And in, amongst all of this, the enlightened centrist comes down to say we should stop politicizing tragedy. Now, Chris, you and I have had our share of disagreements, both friendly and otherwise, over the past years. But seriously, what is, you using tragedy to politicize, to push a political agenda? Is it saying, wake the fuck up? We need to make sure this never fucking happens again? If you say, if you say that is pushing a political agenda, well then I have to reiterate. Unfortunately, more times than more times than not, the road to progress is paved in the blood of the blood of tragedy, because especially when it comes to Americans, us motherfuckers need some kind of wake up to realize we're doing something fucking wrong. Now is, pushing the anti-trans, culture war of the religious right, politicizing a tragedy, using a tragedy to push a political agenda. Well, if you're going to decry that, then grow a fucking spine and say it with your whole damn chest. And we'll know we have an ally in you. Is decrying the idea of using a tragedy to push for genocide. Using a tragedy to push a political agenda. Then, if you consider that then grow a fucking spine and say it with your whole goddamn chest, and I know not to turn my back around you. I apologize for the tone in the language, but this, the enlightened, fucking centrist, cowardly phrasing and non-committal to the fucking shitstorm around this tragedy is enraging beyond words almost. And I'm saying this as, someone whose desire to just live their own fucking life has been branded by a large swath of American politics as a political fucking agenda. And I'm not going, and, from what I've read, yes, I have done some speculating, especially about how fucking convenient it is for the religious right that the first mass publicized mass shooting to come up after Tucker Carlson does his fucking scare piece about a group of, you know, about, LGBT people going Rainbow Panthers, happens to be a trans person. But seriously, if it's a case of the, hey, maybe we should do gun control discussion, when are we supposed to fucking have it? Because a mass shooting happens just about more than once a day on average now. And if it's any of the other options, then, grow a fucking spine and say it with your chest. Now, I have reason to believe that the short I'm responding to may have been made in response to the tweet pictured above. And if that is the case, then, no one deserves to fucking die in a mass shooting isn't that hot of a take. You can just say, condolences to the victims. I decry the shooter. This should have never fucking happened. No one deserves to die in a mass shooting. How hard is that to fucking say with your whole ass chest? But no. We had the enlightened centrists coming down to give us some wishy-washy political speak about how we should stay about how, America should handle its own damn tragedies. So perhaps, you should try to add something, actually add something to the conversation if you're going to take a part in it. If not, then stay in your armchair and leave the fight, leave the fights to those of us who are in the trenches. YouTube bullshit, indoctrination is a hell of a drug. And how many years must one man have before he will hear people cry? And how many deaths will it take till he knows that too many people have died? The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.